to another episode of Resiliency Gardening. I'm Corey Ekman, your homesteading graduate assistant at SRU's McCoskey Center, and in today's episode I wanted to show you a project I've been working on for the last few weeks. And so my front yard needed some landscaping love, and so I decided to go with edible landscaping as well as native species landscaping. And so let's go check that out. The beginning of this landscaping project called for us to take out what was already in our front landscaping beds, and so it wasn't much. It was mostly weeds, grass, and then a lot of tree stumps, and also a poison ivy vine, which I got poison ivy on my feet for this, so definitely wear pants when you work with things like this. Now, as you can see in this video, our soil is pretty rocky, and so we tried to remove as much as we could. We did our best, but of course there's going to be rocks left at the end of the day. After we prepared our soil, we used a couple poles and some string to make a straight line across, where you'll see Brady take a shovel to make that straight line for our edging. So we are using bricks to do an edge along our front beds, and so a lot of people use either bricks or they can use some sort of lining that goes along here. What we're going to do is place these along in here next to each other so it creates a barrier between the grass and between the bed itself. When I was planning out what to plant in my front yard, I wanted to do either natives or edible plants. And so I'm going to talk about the couple natives that I was able to find, and this one is a columbine. And so these are really great for animals and pollinators. And so these will actually get a huge flower on them. They'll become more of a bush as it grows. I got 2 of these to plant. So I love them. They're really showy and beautiful. You can find these all over in Pennsylvania. They kind of look like little shamrock leaves, but they're just very unique. And then another favorite, you might have seen this one while walking along a stream or anything. This one is a bee balm. And so these are also native to Pennsylvania. They are obviously very good for pollinators and other animals. And they are actually edible when you pull off one of these petals here. And so you can kind of like suck on the end if you wanted to. And so they're edible to us, they're medicinal. So this is another good one to plant. I was only able to get one of these. Next, I positioned my plants just to see what they would look like before I actually dig the holes to plant them there forever. So the other consideration that I had was the medicinal or edible version. I wanted to make sure that my front yard could be eaten. So I wanted to buy things like oregano and thyme and other perennial herbs. And so I did buy lavender, so these can be used for like essential oils or other crafts or body making sort of things. And so I got 2 lavenders I'm going to plant. I'm going to cut off the flowers and use them as a bouquet in my bathroom to make it smell good. This is bone set. It does get a really beautiful kind of carrot looking feathery flower to it, or if you've ever seen Queen Anne's lace, it kind of has one of those type of flowers to it. This is an old medicinal type of plant, but I don't know if I will use it in particular, but it is an edible plant. And of course I got my thyme. It has really beautiful purple flowers right now that I should pick off, but I really don't want to. This will creep and make a ground cover happen. And of course, it's edible. Then my last one is Angelica. Angelica is a medicinal herb that has these feather-like leaves. Now at this point, you're probably asking, Corey, why should I even put native plants into my landscape? And so my answer to that is that you can make your property much more attractive to pollinators, and those pollinators will then pollinate your vegetable gardens. Basically, the native animals and insects are regionally adapted to the plants in this area. Native plants will be your best bet to establish a healthy environment for native pollinators, but if your neighbors still plant tiger lilies or other various types of non-native plants, this can still be beneficial to your property. once you have everything planted in its designated spots, then you'll want to get mulch. And so mulch helps to keep any sort of moisture into the soil, which is really great in my case because I have that dry, rocky soil. And so we got mulch locally from Agway in Grove City, and this is just a natural mulch, and I think that this picture is really funny because my car was really heavily loaded down and I could feel it. I drive a Standard, so I could really feel that while I was driving. The tip I have for spreading mulch is just to make an even layer that isn't too thick to keep too much moisture in, but isn't too thin that you're seeing the soil below. In today's final thought, I have a quote from Doug Tallamy, and it goes, "Because life is fueled by the energy captured from the sun by plants, it will be the plants that we use in our gardens that determine what nature will be like 10, 20, and 50 years from now." With that being said, I hope you consider all of the benefits that come with either planting native plants or an edible landscape. And so obviously the edible landscape is really great for us. We get to eat from it. We get to, make those essential oils or tinctures, whatever you want to go into the realm of doing. But the native planting really helps all of those pollinators do a better job on our landscapes and then head on over to our own garden spaces and pollinate those. And so again, when we get out of those cookie cutter mindsets of having a golf course looking front yard and get out of that thinking, we start to create more meaningful landscapes for our communities, and maybe your neighbors will follow suit. So with that being said, too, be sure to check out our monthly newsletters and follow our social media pages. We are just wrapping up our children's summer programming, our virtual summer programming, and that's gone awesome. So we look forward to doing more of that in the fall. And other than that, I will see you in a few weeks.
I have worked upon the hillsides where the pines sing in the wind, where the renters lived before me and the miners before them.